Welcome to another eLead video from Student Activities and Involvement. Today's topic is all about recruitment and retention that will work for your organization. No matter what you do to recruit new members, you want to define your brand. Before your group goes out to recruit new members, you first must know your missions and values. As an organization, you want to ask yourself, what purpose does your organization serve? Also, what sets you apart from other similar organizations? What does a member gain by joining your organization? What does a successful member look like? Be able to answer these questions with the sentence starters provided is a great start and help new members understand your purpose. After you determine what your organization stands for, there are many ways in which you can recruit and retain members. One thing you can do is pair new members with old members to create connections for them to feel comfortable in the space. Another way is to use inclusive language such as everyone or y'all. Using such language helps ensure that those who identify differently feel welcomed in the space and be more willing to open up to the organization itself. In addition to this, always being attentive to questions and concerns is a good way to create an environment individuals would want to come back to. Be sure to keep in contact as it is a good idea to always end meetings or events with any contact information for members to reach out to if they have questions. On top of this, staying after the meeting or event is over for anyone that may have questions or concerns after the meeting or event also gives members a sense of openness of information. Recruitment can only work if you find the right people to invite. Narrow your search enough to target people who would likely be interested in joining, but not so much about that you leave potential members out by asking who is likely to want to join your group. Some main areas to consider are their major or minor, gender, year in school, grad or undergrad, ethnicity, service-oriented, or social butterflies. You should also consider if they are on-campus students or commuters, along with first-generation students, so as long as you aren't leaving others out entirely, knowing who your primary target markets are can help you gain the profiling or discrimination against other demographics. However, when identifying your target market, there can be some ignored populations that organizations typically forget about. When planning your recruitment tactics, consider groups who are left out, including non-traditional students who are returning adults aged 25 or older. Other groups to consider are students who are parents, transfer students, commuters, students with disabilities, students who don't look like or have the same experiences as the rest of your organization, or anyone who isn't an obvious connection to the public, to the topic. If you and your members are only recruiting the people you know and hang out with, then you aren't reaching far enough to gain members with a variety of experiences, interests, and points of view. All things that will help strengthen your organization in the end. When going about a plan of attack for recruitment, you should know what your message is and who to focus your efforts on. There are many different ways to go about recruiting your organizations with two main groups that they can be categorized into. Passive methods are those where you can just put up the information and the word will spread itself. There are many examples of passive methods here on the slide, but some of them include social media, posters, shirts, and keeping Connect up to date. The other methods are active in the sense that you are out doing and interacting with potential members. Some good methods of active recruitment are tabling in buildings or events, collaborating with other organizations, and having incentives during meetings. There are many different ways in which an organization can have a plan of attack, but there is also no one way to go about recruiting new members. You will have to figure out what works best for your organization and reach the members you want. With today's society, using social media as a form of recruitment is a great way to reach new members. However, not all of your potential members are here, but for those who are on social media, there are some things to consider following. It is also always a great idea to use quality images and provide some consistency from one to the next, including using the same frame, logo, and format. Use something that creates a visual cue that the message is from you. Another useful thing is to use carousels on Facebook and Instagram to share lots of information without overwhelming the viewer. Be sure to share what is happening in your organization's events and meetings and in your members' lives. Remember, pictures and videos are worth the effort. Something else you can do is ask engaging questions and create follow-up discussions. It's also a good idea to use consistently to stay relevant and to maintain followership. This is especially important when competing for the same new members as all the other organizations here on campus. You could also partner up with other organizations and do shoutouts or takeovers on each other's social media accounts. You also want to think about your customer as they want the information but do not want the overload or repetition. With that, you want to make sure your content is fresh and relevant but not overly repetitive. Finally, you can promote what you're doing to to other organizations in the student activities involvement bi-weekly newsletter. To do such a thing, you must fill out a form on Connect. It's very simple. I highly recommend it. Another way for recruitment is tabling. Tabling is a great way to connect with new members in person and spread the awareness of your organization. There are many great practices toward effective tabling for whether you are at a fair or on your own. A few practices include standing if you are able, wear something that connects to your organization, and make eye contact but do not force others to. You always want to create a welcoming environment at your table so individuals can feel comfortable talking to you, but also not to scare them away. It is also a good idea to start the conversation with an engaging question to try and get those passing by to stop at your table and learn more. A few other good practices include providing visuals that share your group story, having a game or giveaway or something to do while you pitch your organization. You want to make sure things are easy as easy as possible for them to introduce themselves. Ask if you can collect their contact information to invite them to the next meeting. Also, choose people to work your table that can, at least for a couple of hours. Be the extrovert at the table. You want someone who is willing to put themselves out there and talk to new students about the organization and what you do. In addition to tabling, it is a great idea to have a pitch about your organization to say to new members. Recruitment is a type of sale, so creating a pitch helps you package the information in a way that people want to buy into your mission and are willing to commit. Creating an emotional or visceral connection to the information can be helpful to getting the new members to continue to return. Something to consider is instead of using, "We exist to teach students about dance," the message is, "We create a space for students to explore movement and dance in all its forms." You want to focus on the benefit to the member. Few new members will care about what they can do for the organization. Instead, ask current and former members what they gain by the experience. Do not assume that everyone gets the same thing out of joining. Be sure to keep your pitch clear, concise, and accurate, and exciting to be able to draw the potential members into your organization and what you can do for them. The next challenge that organizations face is getting members to continue to show up and participate in meetings or events. One thing to do is consider the barriers to participation and make sure that events and meetings are accessible as possible to all. Try considering hosting a hybrid format with an in-person and virtual opportunity. Also consider if you have dues that members need to pay and if they are a manageable amount. If your dues are too high, you are excluding a large number of potential members that cannot afford such a high amount. A lot of organizations also create a welcome team to bring hesitant people into the event or meeting and help them feel more involved. Any new member wants to feel welcomed and like they belong, so having some individuals start creating the environment upon arrival is always a good idea. When hosting a hybrid event, it is the best practice to have a facilitator to make sure online people and in-person people feel equally involved. Having this individual will allow those who are virtual to ask questions and get their answers when needed, and make sure they do not feel excluded from the conversation. Another good practice would be to create an agenda and make it public prior to the meeting so individuals can be aware of the topics to be discussed. It is also important to remember that new members can join all year and not just the first meeting. Always encourage others to bring their friends and that anyone is welcome at any point throughout the semester. Along with that, it is a good idea to always have name tags and icebreakers to be able to take time to create a community with new and existing members. You should also consider if your meeting time, length, day, and location are the best option for your organization and its members. Thinking about what you are competing against and who might be left out for some of your options is essential. For all organizations and individuals, it is important to remember that recruitment is the job for every member and not just the e-board or part of it. No matter what you are doing, you want to represent your org well in class, activities, and across campus. Everywhere you go is an opportunity to recruit new members. However, do not push it hard, otherwise you could risk turning new members away. It is also important to know that personal invitations are the best way to encourage participation, and people do not like to let others down. Personally inviting others results in a higher likeliness that they will actually show up to the meetings or events. In general, it is extremely important to remember that recruitment is an everyday, all the time activity, no matter what time of year it is for your organization. Even if you have periods of time where membership is closed, the actions and messages your group conveys makes people want to join or avoid your organization. Thank you for watching this presentation of Recruitment and Retention by Student Activities and Involvement. Please always remember that recruitment and retention is important for all organizations and occurs throughout the year. We can be reached by email at involvement@uw.edu, by phone at 262-472-6217, or you can always stop by our office in UC 146. Thank you.